This is VOA News via remote. I'm Diane Roberts. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is in Germany as the Biden administration presses ahead with a diplomatic charm offensive designed to woo back wary Western European allies after 4 years of turbulent relations under former President Donald Trump. Blinken is on his second visit to Europe in 7 days, having just accompanied President Joe Biden to leaders' meetings in Britain and Belgium. Blinken will follow his visit to Germany with stops in France and Italy, his first to all three nations as Biden's top diplomat. There is no meeting planned between U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken and Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi at a G20 gathering in Italy next week, a State Department official said Wednesday, after the Financial Times reported that Beijing and Washington were discussing such a meeting. The newspaper, citing people briefed on the talks, said U.S. President Joe Biden's administration had also informed counterparts in Beijing that it would like the Deputy Secretary of State to visit China over the summer. The British newspaper went on to say the White House had also held preliminary internal discussions about sending Blinken or Jake Sullivan, the National Security Advisor, to China later this year. That move could set the stage for Mr. Biden and Chinese President Xi Jinping to hold a bilateral summit on the margins of the G20 leaders meeting in Rome in October. The European Union is considering $4.18 billion for Turkey to continue hosting Syrian refugees until 2024, two diplomats said Wednesday, part of a bigger regional refugee support plan to stop migrants reaching the bloc. The total $6.9 billion package for Turkey, Jordan, Lebanon, and Syria aims to prevent a new refugee influx. This is VOA News. Iran said Wednesday the United States had agreed to remove all sanctions on Iran's oil and shipping, although Germany cautioned that major issues remained at talks between Tehran and world powers to revive a 2015 nuclear deal. The Iranian remarks by outgoing President Hassan Rouhani's chief of staff echoed previous assertions by officials in Rouhani's pragmatic camp that Washington is prepared to make major concessions at the talks, underway since April in Vienna. The talks adjourned Sunday for consultations in capitals, 2 days after Iran held a presidential election won by hardliner Ibrahim Raisi, the Iranian judiciary chief who was on a U.S. blacklist. Raisi is due to replace Rouhani in August. Iran foiled a sabotage attack Wednesday on a building belonging to the country's Atomic Energy Agency, state television said, adding there were no casualties or damage. It gave no further details on the building or the nature of the sabotage that had been averted. The incident comes as Tehran and world powers attempt to revive a hobbled 2015 agreement on Iran's nuclear program in Vienna talks. An Ivory Coast court Wednesday sentenced former Prime Minister and rebel leader Guillaume Soro to life imprisonment in absentia on charges of plotting a coup against President Alassane Ouattara. Soro, who is in exile in Europe, was charged with conspiracy and an attempted attack on state authority. His lawyers have previously condemned the charges as politically motivated and said there was no evidence to show he was guilty. Hong Kong pro-democracy newspaper Apple Daily announced Wednesday it will print its final edition after authorities froze its assets using a sweeping new national security law, silencing the city's most China-critical media outlet. The decision is the latest blow to Hong Kong's freedoms and will deepen unease over whether the International Finance Center can remain a media hub as China seeks to stamp out dissent. German Chancellor Angela Merkel said Wednesday she would like other European countries to require people entering them from countries where there are high levels of the Delta variant, like Britain, to go into quarantine, as is the case in Germany. She told the Bundestag lower house of parliament, quote, "In our country, if you come from Great Britain, you have to go into quarantine, and that's not the case in every European country, and that's what I would like to see," end quote. Britain's music festival faces a fight for survival without further government support in the pandemic, lawmakers warned Wednesday, as summer events are canceled or reduced because of COVID restrictions. Via remote, I'm Diane Roberts, VOA News.